Anybody else is sweet? Thank you everyone for coming, and I'll call the meeting to order. Get through this land acknowledgement with my voice. I'd like to respectfully acknowledge that we are meeting on the traditional lands of the First Nations that has been inhabited by Indigenous peoples from the beginning. In particular, I acknowledge the history, spirituality, and culture of the territory of the Anishinaabe Nation, peoples of the Three Fires known as the Ojibwe, and Odawa and Potawatomi Nation, and further give thanks to the Chippewas of Saugeen and the Chippewas of Nawash, known collectively as the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, as the traditional keepers of this land. We recognize and deeply appreciate their historic connection to this area, as well as the contributions of the Métis, Inuit, and other Indigenous peoples whose ancestors share these lands and waters, and may we live with respect for each other on this land and live in peace and friendship with all its diverse peoples. Miigwech. Prior to today's meeting, the board met in closed sessions to review and discuss matters that in their opinion fell under Section 44 of the Community Safety and Policing Act and Section 25, Item B of the Onsan Police Services Board General Policy 003, Board Governance. Moving on to item number 3, the approval of the agenda. One thing I'd like to do is add one item under new business, being item H regarding taxi meters and private transportation vehicles. With that added, can I have a motion to approve the agenda? Brian, thank you. Second, Bev, thank you. Carried. Declaration of conflict of interest arising out of the minutes and matters listed. Hearing none. Presentations, deputations, I don't have any for this meeting. Confirmation of the minutes and public sessions held April 23rd. Moving on, Carol, can I have a motion for that? Thank you. Seconder. Yeah, thank you. Excuse me, Beth. Okay. All in favor? Carrie? Yeah. Any business arising out of the public session minutes from April 23rd? Hearing none. Correspondence received. We have one email correspondence regarding the availability of ABMs in the downtown core. And in speaking with the branch manager, this is the case for some time now, where most of the vestibules in all of the FIs downtown are locked after business hours. Bank branches that have closed their ABM lobbies and vestibules due to prevent their being used in non-business hours for purposes other than withdrawals of cash. I also just noticed recently that TD has applied for an application through the wall to install an ABM in their back parking lot. I'm not sure the back parking lot is probably the best place to put it, but maybe it would have been better on the side. But anyways, it's just an issue that because of what's going on downtown, banks are no longer available to open their vestibules 24/7 as they used to. And the next item was we have a letter from Premier Doug Ford regarding the King Charles Coronation Medal. And with that, maybe I can do this. The right one here.
Need a sword and a pillow for him to.
Sword and a pillow. And
Neil or?
no, you just get over to the side. So you should pick up right away.
He's out of the screen now.
So show that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's up now.
Basically, the letter reads it was in the board package, but I just wanted to make sure that Chief Ambrose is recognized for this prestigious honor to a profound and lasting contribution to Ontario and to Canada, and have been selected as honor in recognition of your exceptional contributions and dedication to the betterment of the province and country. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah. And we'll do one more.
Yeah.
And I think Brian, you talked about this.
Two more.
Two more, yes. But this is for the certificate of recognition for the Wheel and Ride Safety Festival and Bike Program. It's the OBIAA Special Events Award document. That goes to all the police service.
Yeah, that Joy did a great job with that. I'll be sure to pass that on. Thank you.
And we have one more. And I don't think we have time to tell the whole story behind this. This is.
Dave, you can come up with the phone.
Yes. This recognition or application started 2 years ago, at least.
Yeah.
2 years. And what it is, it's the recommendation or nomination is for a member of the Order of Merit for Canada and for police chiefs that have done and other officers that have done exceptional work throughout their career. So we sent the application in 2 years ago. Gotta do that. Send it in the call for them in the spring. Get them in by September for the investiture in Ottawa, be done by December. We did that. They had a backlog because of COVID, so the story will goes. And so it went to the next spring. Then it went to the next fall. And so I'm gonna keep following up every quarter. So this year it was supposed to be done as of April. May 14th, you're right, because I had it hold on cap. May 14th, anyway. And so I followed up saying, what's going on? And they said, well, we sent the email, maybe it went to your junk file. So I got back to the person and I said, great, can you send me a copy of the email that you did send? We didn't send it from this department.
Oh, dear.
So anyways, we're looking at getting a copy of that email. But that being said, I'll let you do the honors for Dave first.
Yes, so Dave, I was happy to nominate you for investiture into the member of Order of Merit for police service forces. And your appointment entitles you to immediately start using the post-nominal letters associated with your level of Order of Merit, MOM. And you may wear the appropriate undress ribbon and the enclosed lapel pins. The date future ceremony is yet to be determined. So hear from the Chancellery at Rideau Hall about that date coming forward. So
Thank you very much. Thanks to the board for looking at that as well. Appreciate it.
Yeah, moving on to Craig, you said all the stuff all about it. So
okay.
I like, but one of the things that I looked at before, you couldn't find it, but just who's eligible and what's the eligibility criteria for someone who is on long designation. Member of the Order of Merit of Police Forces recognizes exceptional service or performance of duty over extended period of time, usually at the local or regional provincial level. And this honor is administered by the Chancellery of Honors at Rideau Hall. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Would you like to go with it?
Yeah. Yay.
Congratulations, Dave.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. Chairman's report. Zone 5 meeting was scheduled for Tuesday this week. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend. And this will actually be the first one I've ever missed. Unfortunately, there wasn't sufficient board members in attendance to have a quorum. I found out that there was more than one that they needed to make a quorum. So it wasn't my total responsibility or fault that they didn't have a quorum. And the next meeting is scheduled for September sometime. Governance, I don't have anything under governance. I've got a question mark for Hank, and Hank was unable to join us today. So we'll move on to reports from Inspector Bishop.
Chair, we're starting with the Criminal Investigations Drug Enforcement Branch. Some homicide updates. So I believe we talked last meeting about the one which was going to be coming up in court, was going to tie us up for 5 to 6 weeks. That one has resolved as very recently, as well as another individual that had been charged in that case as well. So that's good. Puts those cases to rest, and some great work done by our CIB team with those cases. That only leaves our one case remaining, which is the Rahman homicide. And that one, as you know, continues to work its way through the UK system with the extradition. It's put to August now for yet another date. So that process is outside of our control. We don't contribute to it other than what we submitted. Actually, so it's working its way independently through the UK system. We just kind of hear some updates from time to time, so. That's the updates on those. You'll recall last month we had quite a large drug seizure. We have more to offer for April of this month. So on the 14th, there was quite a large drug seizure on the city's west side, $97,000 worth of illegal narcotics, quite a bit of cocaine, and a large quantity of fentanyl as well, and more than $30,000 in cash seized. 23-year-old male charged with 9 criminal offenses related to that one. A child sexual assault investigation related to a 4-year-old boy by his biological father. It's been initiated in conjunction with Child and Family Services, and there are no charges forthcoming in that one as of now. Another drug case, our drug officer working in conjunction with the OPP conducted a joint investigation. 3 simultaneous search warrants occurred here in Owen Sound. This time $100,000 worth of drugs, which was made up of a little over a pound of cocaine, 443 grams of crack, some fentanyl, oxycodone pills, MDMA, and a loaded 9mm handgun. Multiple units resulted in charges against 6 individuals. So certainly there is drug activity happening here in the city, and some of it is being accepted. So, third-party complaint of a 40-year-old teacher at a local secondary school in relation with a 17-year-old student. That investigation is still continuing. The remainder of the report relates to stats-related training meetings. Good news is that as of at least in April, it's not good news that we've had a drug-related death, but I'll remind you, last year we ended the year with 14. So here we are heading into June. We had another incident just on the weekend that I just had some exchange back and forth with public health. It was a save by one of our officers with naloxone and CPR. Individual was revived at the hospital, but there's some back and forth. I'm not sure whether that ultimately ended up with a second death, and I'll have to do some follow-up with that as well. But whatever we're doing with respect to public health and the efforts of EMS seems to be working this year, or at least reducing our numbers substantially over what we were in previous years. So good news. We also had a note on the bottom of that one regarding the 15-year-old female missing from the east side. There was some media that went out on that. We were glad yesterday to have been able to cover that girl safely. So that media release went out yesterday. So she was outstanding for probably a couple of weeks, and some great work done by Julie Wyville. She's one of our officers that we've temporarily placed into the criminal investigations branch. And she did some great work on that, some warrants back and forth with social media, a lot of work with the phones and that sort of thing to get the information that ultimately led to the location of that young girl. So good job by Julie. Any questions? I'll move on to the auxiliary report. 136 hours through April. They assisted with the Wheel and Ride Safety Festival that you've spoken about already. And there's just a little bit more information for that. We're starting now to move into obviously the busy season as we start some special event planning for a lot of the stuff that happens here over the summer. So the auxiliary will continue to be more involved in that. We're also working our way through an auxiliary intake. Our auxiliary sergeant and our HR manager have been doing some interviews, hoping to add probably 4 to 6 new auxiliary members to bring our complement back up to where it should be. Hopefully some auxiliary update. Core, we remain with just 1 officer currently assigned to Core. Some stats related information regarding his activities for the month. you've heard some of the information regarding the approach that we are taking in some cases with possession of narcotics. So our core officer made 4 arrests for open drug use in the River District that resulted in seizures and charges with regard to the guidelines that we put in place for consideration. The remainder of it is a lot of his activities, just in terms of where he's gone and things that he's done. There are no questions for that one. I will move on to the compliance and warrant apprehension unit. That again is one officer who is pulled in many different directions with our staffing model that we have here, but certainly still puts in a lot of time with respect to bill compliance and warrant apprehension. 27 criminal charges for that officer, 11 warrant arrests, and still found some time for some foot patrol. So that is Constable Curry, who remains very busy within our service. And again, the remainder is just an update for you on some of the activities he engaged in throughout the month of April. And we will move to frontline patrol report and collision statistics. This was a report formerly done by Inspector Flooney that I have taken over now. So that shows you just some of the stats for our frontline patrol and part-time program with respect to Highway Traffic Act and some of the other items. Most of them are on par with where we were in previous years. April 2024, we had higher number of compliance reports. That's mostly related to our startup of the bail compliance team, who were doing a lot of that work back in the spring of last year. Our criminal code charges are up quite a bit over April 2024 for April, 162 versus 99. And we also made some improvements on our foot patrol hours. So that's good news. 16 on-duty ride checks in the month of April, 428 drivers checked. There were no roadside breath tests and some Highway Traffic Act warnings that came as a result of that. So during the month of April, otherwise, there were 3 persons charged with impaired driving offenses here in the city. We also provide a summary for you of the collision statistics, which you can see there. They are similar to previous years. We see a drop between March and April. That's typically weather related. As the weather starts to improve, our collisions go down a little bit. So I think there's anything there that is worthy of comment. So if you have questions, that is that report. Thank you.
Great.
Go through the community services officers report.
Okay.
So doing some work with the community outreach, education, social media. You attended the job fair in Guelph, University of Guelph, and a number of other events, including Wheel and Ride downtown Homesound, arranging for the torch run that's just upcoming. He did a lot of work at all the different schools, as he normally does, including secondary schools and St. Mary's admin, things regarding ongoing issues at school and a rash of safety issues and fights that were affecting a number of students and the community. Georgia College Police Foundation's community meeting, they're talking about the curriculum moving forward and things like that. He had represented that meeting on my behalf, that I was tied up in something else. And he also attended the Youth and Policing and Provincial meeting, represented the police service. Other than that, combating hate online, Blue Board D-Day presentation, he presented to 150 staff members at that, which was a large group to present to. And he attended the crisis communications course in St. Thomas on that, as he also does some of our communications in-house as well. One other item that he did was he did the internal presentations of the rollout of our CamSafe camera registry program. They saw in our media releases, but you can register your camera. We don't have access to the camera system, but you can register your camera so we know it's available. We can look at a map. So if there's been an incident, we can check the location and see if it may be of value and We encourage all people in the community to register their cameras for that program. That was summary.
Moving on, lost hours in training, do we? Right there.
Go through that one.
Okay,
You'll see, similar to other years, down significantly this year, for the number of sick leave, and whether that's the weather, whether that's what it is, but certainly we had less sick time. WSIB remains consistent over the years. And then we also sent several officers on training courses last month. Advanced sexual assaults, firearms verification for our special constable. Yeah, and work. We ran through 5 people through a special constable training internally. We have a recruit attending OPC right now. Pistol requalification and training, cultural mindfulness training, the program that we originally brought here to Grey and Bruce County through the Sound Police Service. It's nice to see that other agencies are bringing that back to the area. So we were fortunate enough to send 7 of our new officers to attend that training when it was hosted by one of our partner agencies. So we keep our new members up to date on that. Niche, 2 clerical staff niche attended the niche universal app course, and what that is our records management system is getting changed and there's a new version of it. So they attended. It's a train the trainer, and they'll be training all of our members over the summer and into the fall on the new niche, so that when it goes live, the old one gets cut off, we'll be ready to move forward. And we're doing that training along with West Grey, Hanover, and Saugus Shores as well, in order to assist with the rollout of that training. We had 1 attend domestic violence investigation, 2 attend the Toxilizer 9000 training. We had block training for all of our officers, and 2 members attend hate crime conference hosted by one of the regional police.
good. Moving on to court reports.
That one for you. Search is down a little bit. That's staffing related. We have an intake of new cell monitors that are been hired. Should bring that back up, but that is one of their primary roles when they're in a cell block. Monitors is doing bulk searches for us. So that's the rationale behind that one. Statistics, special muscle hours are up. That is related to the intake of 5 special constables that we have. That it pushes our hours up for training because they have to work in conjunction with mentors. So we're paying extra people to get them trained up. Respect to the rest of the stats there, they are all basically in line with where we should be and where we have been in past years. We had anticipated, or I think we told you, that we would probably see a big spike in hours that would be related to those 2 court cases that I talked about, that they did run for about a week, but not the 5 or 6 that we planned. So we hope that that will assist us, and we won't see as much of a spike as we had initially told you about. That is for that report.
Victor. Moving on to Sound Emergency Communication Center report.
So you'll see that in April, the average daily incoming 911 calls are down slightly, but in line with last year's. Number of no answer calls are up slightly, but generally not a huge discrepancy. Some of the areas are down. Year to date, there's been increases, but for the previous month, there's slight decreases. Average daily 911 dispatch rate continues to remain about steady for the time of year, slightly below the average. 2024, but on par with this time of year, so I anticipate that will decrease over the course of the year. There were 5,150 incoming 911 calls, representing an average rate of 172 calls per day, and the average daily rate of calls dispatched in April was 43, although down from March. It's pretty consistent with January, February. CAT events are April 2025, very consistent. It's down slightly from 2024, but consistent month to month. Here, daily dispatch rates per month, those are up. The OSPSB, it continues to rise and it continues to be higher than every other year's average. So that is a demand on our members and demand that we have to address and meet. The significant increases from the police with an average of 25 more police calls dispatched per day compared to last year. On the IT side, there was some training that was done for devices that on our infrastructure. We did the uninterrupted power supply for the alternate communication center, funded through our G911 year 3 grant. There's a phone upgrade completed for Gananoque Police Services as a service will be provided, and through our tech people. We're continuing upgrades in Smith Falls Police Service, and they've been heavily involved with NG911 as we did our first test calls and integration of the new 911 system into local recording and radio systems. And we're proceeding with the Bell certification tests. There are over 600 tests that have to be done before we can go live with NG911, but we're on track to move that forward for July. That's the highlight of the OSPSB.
And then the IT,
Yeah. So
or HR, right?
the posting for the inspector position, the absence of Inspector Flynn, or retirement of Inspector Flynn, gathered some good resumes. Interviews took place yesterday. We had 5 new special constables hired, trained in April, and they were sworn in by the board chair, and they continue their training. Some of those candidates want to be police officers in the future, so that's positive for us. Promotional process for 2025 is underway, and applications and interviews have taken place. The position of training officer was posted along with vacancies in criminal investigations, and another vacancy in criminal investigations has since been posted. 5 new dispatchers started the training and anticipate we'll run another group in the fall. Postings were issued for part-time cell block monitors and auxiliary constables, with some hiring done for the cell block monitors, and I believe the auxiliary constables are just about finalized. Is that correct, Dave? That way.
I would have to check with Wendy on that, but they've done interviews. I don't know if the selection's done as of yet.
Okay, so the interviews are done or ongoing, and the list of hires are outlined there. And resignation of a part-time special cell block monitor, and those will be confirmed and acceptance of the resignation on behalf of the board. Health and Safety Committee has been meeting, address concerns in the building. There's concern with plexiglass at the front desk, and we've reached out to talk to the city about getting that fixed and updated and upgraded. So policies under review and will be reissued soon. And operational stress survey is rolled out to all of our members. It's being run by a third party, the Public Service Health and Safety Association, just to get a better understanding of the level of stress experienced by members. And that's members across the province, but also in our service. Wellness Committee with the representatives from across the service is running a walking challenge that will culminate with torch run and the Reach Walk in June. So we're doing there's 43 or 44 members signed up from the service to keep track of your steps daily and walk across Canada. So it's some are making better progress than others. Myself included, I'll be on the lower end of that, but it's a good not competition, but a good team building exercise, and there's some prizes at the end.
And if anyone wants to sign up for the torch run, we have applications available for board members.
And just on that, you don't have to sign, you don't have to do the run, you can participate, you can assist at the barbecue, or you can, you're welcome to walk it as well. And you can register and purchase a shirt, and Mark's probably there today, and it's not a public donation, you get a shirt,
Brian?
your, get a shirt as well. Your,
Sure.
Sure.
Yes,
Tuesday, June.
Third is tenth.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm away that day, whatever it is.
And you can have barbecue.
Yeah, I know. We'll see. We'll see.
I'm moving on,
Did you want to go?
financial update, we're still in a position where we're waiting for the impacts to be seen on the budget, or with the resolution of the contract with the Beer Association. And so the numbers are they can always be very accurate. But significant retro payout coming in the future, and fortunately our financial away for a few days. Really, it doesn't show a reflection of where we're at. He assures me that we're in good shape.
As forecast is.
Forecast, get those numbers in place, so better ability to demonstrate that. As it appears now, we're well under budget.
Yeah, but we're really not.
There's a significant
Yeah.
expenditure coming. So, yeah.
Okay. All right.
My activities report, spent a number of hours doing hiring and interviewing. Time spent working OSPSB. I attended the Ontario Court of Justice Provincial Offences Court case forum in London for one day. It should be grant discussions and preparations. It was a busy time finalizing the work and preparing for new grant submissions. And we went down and met with the downtown business owner and discussed some of the issues in the downtown. Court security meetings. I met with our new MPP, Paul Vickers, and explained the circumstances around policing in Owen Sound. And that was a reach out from Mr. Vickers directly after, and I appreciated that. So we had a good conversation and an ongoing discussion since then on a number of topics. And attended the the OSPSB Small and Mid-sized Police Chiefs Conference for 2 days in October. So the highlights of my time last week.
Okay, any questions for the chief on anything that's been going on, House? Moving on to other items in new business, introduction of the Hyper AI for non-emergency calls.
And so I don't have a demonstration or a report on that, but as part of the NG911 funding and streamlining efficiencies within the town center, we've signed a contract with a called Hyper AI, who are doing a AI call handling solution for the non-emergency administrative non-emergency public service. So if somebody's calling in requesting information, hoping that they can be directed to the right place, and if it requires escalation, it automatically would go into our new queue. Using 911, it's much easier to queue calls into 911 calls, emergency calls for service, and non-emergency calls for service. So it would streamline that process, and it would hopefully free up our members who are answering phones now by taking those calls and not getting them involved, and free them up to take more important calls. So that's something that's ongoing, and we'll have a demonstration once we get a little bit more along. But that project kicked off.
Okay. Moving on to item B, it's just a follow up on the request that I sent to City Council to arrange a meeting. That was tabled at Monday night's council meeting, and they agreed to arrange a meeting. But first, they wanted to meet with the police board, and I will advise the board to see the actual notice of the meeting. I received that from the Alice. It should be coming. Anything else, Bill, you wanted to add to that? I know you were there at the meeting, you presented.
Mhm. It would be helpful if I might suggest that we include the official resolution within our minute.
Yes, once we get it, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, and I certainly would, appreciate the opportunity to provide input around, what may be potentially discussed. And also the importance of a skilled facilitator around the second part of the resolution. So the first was to set up the agenda items, but also to have the conversation around how the community meeting can be facilitated
Mhm.
and what we might find helpful as we advance the conversation. And I think that's a really, really key component of any conversations. So when you are connected by Allison, when Allison from the city connects, is that an invitation for all of the board to participate in agenda setting items, or is it the chair of the board, police chief? I'm not sure who that invitation will be.
I'm not sure. I know what will probably happen if we get the motion from Allison that talks about meeting with the board. And I'm not sure whether it will be a separate motion for the community meeting or whether it will be included within. As far as the agenda, I don't know whether there's still be any comments within that motion regarding the agenda, and I think that we may want to consider putting forth or suggesting an agenda for that meeting.
Hmm.
Since we've asked for the meeting in the first place, I think we're sort of beholden to providing items we want to talk to about rather than having someone else do that for us.
Yes. I had asked for the official resolution to be sent to me if the board wishes to hear what was actually approved today. I'm willing to share that. Because I think it is critically important, and it was passed.
Yeah.
6-1.
Yeah, so, and I think Allison would, I know she sent us in the past, but just if you could follow up with Allison from the city to make sure that we do get a copy of it, so it can be included in the minutes of this meeting.
Yes, I think that would be great. But I was also pleased to hear from Chief Ambrose that the conversation with our MP Paul Vickers has occurred, because part of the resolution was to include an invitation as well to, and I think that having had that conversation initially, and then to include would be excellent. But certainly, it would be very, very helpful, even as a board, for us to have a conversation around what we would like to see going forward.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Even prior to meeting with the city, if I might make that request.
Yeah. And I think what we can do is once we get the official notification and we understand, then we can draft something, what we think might be agenda, and then have it shared with the board
Yeah.
prior to our meeting with the city, because I no doubt the city will want to know what that agenda is going to look like.
And they, for sure, working together with the city, they will have agenda items, I'm assuming, as well, so that they
It can be included, yes.
Yes, and then going to the next part, which would be the larger community group meeting. Thank you.
Yeah.
What happened to the original agreement? with the police board, the city?
The items that Councillor Hamley brought up?
Yeah.
That's the I always get that
It's called a protocol.
protocol agreement. Thank you. Yes, that's it. Yeah, that's been around since 2004.
So it's never happened.
No, that's not true. It has happened.
Well, I'm asking.
We have had meetings with city. Because I can remember one specifically where Thomas was commented very specifically in the next council meeting how well it was done. We've had another one since then. We've had at least 2 or 3 meetings with the city on the topic of getting together, and it's the result of those meetings and with Craig that the relationship had become so much better with the city. It was coming, like before, it used to be a little adversarial at the time, but I think that has improved considerably.
Oh, 100%. So that agreement, was it Is it a meeting that's supposed to take place twice a year? Is that-
It does say in that,
does it
yes.
Specify?
Yeah. And there are reasons why it didn't, but that's under the bridge now. So, and I think we still have to redo the protocol agreement because of the new CSPA. And there are things in it. And the CSPA is not vague, but under the Police Services Act, we had to have one. Under the CSPA, it suggests that you have one. So there's nothing firm, but I think we need to have one because it talks about use of HR, financial services, all of those things. So we need to have something in place.
So would that become a topic for discussion around the board table around a new protocol agreement, or how does that?
We would probably, I think, if I look back, there was probably a motion came out shortly after CSBA came into effect. I think because of the other work that's happening lately, that is still sitting on the corner of someone's desk, mine probably. So we could probably, maybe by the fall, bring it forward. But I think the meetings can happen without having the updated protocol agreement, because it has been since 2004, and there are some things that, as I recall, are a little outdated and may need changes to the language.
So just for clarification, who actually calls the meeting?
This upcoming meeting,
Separate from the community meeting, this is a
the one between the board and.
protocol agreement meetings, who?
Oh, that was the protocol agreement, because there's two things. So the protocol, let me back up, there's three things. So there's a meeting that we're going to have with the city.
Right.
Prior to meeting with the larger community group. Then there's probably a third meeting to review the protocol agreement and then have it sent to the city for their input.
Right. So in the past, the protocol agreement meetings, who was responsible? Was that a joint calling of the meeting? Who sparks the invitation to come to the table?
I think it was a joint calling.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I just needed
I don't
clarify.
remember when it's Chief Ambrose or Stormberger, I don't ever remember request to be turned down, like that was always. Like there's been lots of meetings, there's been lots of times having the chief come address the situation.
Mhm.
I mean, they have happened,
Yes.
but I just didn't know exactly whether what's specified, whether it was, or if it had been necessary to meet. I just think anytime there's been a request, it's always been granted.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to, and we will include that, official notice from Allison in the minutes when we get it. Item number C, special constable reappointment.
Okay, they can look at that. It's another task that's been put over to the board as a result of the new CSPA, which requires reports. This is the first one that you're seeing. So formerly for the CSPA, the appointment of special constables was through the ministry. We had to do an application process through there. Special constable ends would be the first of the, and they were 5-year appointments, so she'll be the first of the old ministry appointments that are now coming due and require reappointment by the board under the new CSPA. So I put the attached legislation down here for you. They provided a transition period so that the old appointments under the ministry carried on into the new act up until they either expired or for a maximum of 3 years once the act comes in. So all of our, no matter when we did them, they'll all be due by 2027, very latest anyway. We've talked about the lengthy training that was introduced by the ministry. There is an exception that is in there for previously appointed special constables, so we don't have to go through that new training process with special constable ends or the others that were previous ministry appointments. And that is as long as they are continually employed or reemployed within a year. So anyway, all the legislation is there. What I would be looking for, and I forgot to bring the form in, Mr. Chair, I have the certificate of appointment ready for you, is just for the board to move to reappoint technically, but under the new scheme of having the board do the appointments.
Okay, thank you. I'll sign it.
And as time comes on, we have more of the.
the motion would be.
I don't think there needs to be a motion to do that, it's a reappointment, it's just a matter of if it's part of the CSPA.
I'm not sure.
I don't think so, I'll just do the reappointment under the rules and have it done with. Item number D. ABC D. Biannual aggregate discipline report.
That'll be another one of mine as well. That is again another new CSPA requirement. This will be the third one that you've received. So every 6 months, essentially, we have to provide you with a list of any discipline the chief has done under the new act. And that report is another one now that needs to be put on our website. So for this particular one, the report has again the attached legislation that's on it, and the report for this one is that the chief did not impose any disciplinary measures prior to report under the new act in this time. So this will cover us off until you'll have another one at the end of the year in December as well.
And you said that needs to appear on our website?
That is another one that, yes, there's several
Is that-
reports now that have to be published to our website within 30 days of the board's receipt.
Right. And I think we covered off the law enforcement torch run item. Moving over to Kayla for a update on our electronic board book, or at least non-paper.
They're completed. I'm gonna pass out the USB and the other end is a USC. And if there are any additions, I'll email them, and if you can just add them on as we go.
And you have the option of keeping them on the drive, the drive. Or you can put them on your own hard drive if you want. Good. And got one for me in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I get one, do I? All right.
Amazing.
So yeah, on there, what is on there again?
There is the budgets from 2024, 2025, a direct link to our policies and procedures on the website, login information to the OAPSB, the regulations, a direct link to the regulations, and a direct link to the new CSPA, because it's always changing, so once you click on it, it'll automatically take you there, so you can see the updated. If there's any additions or.
And the regulations are supplemental to the CSPA or supportive, that support the CSPA. Yeah. And the other thing is, if there's any other things, items that you would like for yourself to see on that electronic board book, let Kayla know, and we will probably send it out to everyone. So everybody has the same playing field.
Isn't this amazing?
It would be, there's a whole lot of easier ways we could have done it.
It's linked to the website.
Yeah, everything, the information is linked to the website.
Yeah.
So, but rather than going searching on the website and everything else, it's all in one spot and you can just go directly in there. Trying to make it as easy as possible for me. But- All right, moving item to item G, which I added at the beginning of the meeting. During the closed session earlier today, we met with the owner of Tripsy Ad Hoc Technologies Limited and made a presentation where he disclosed personal information regarding his business. He appeared before the board to allow the use of meters in private transportation vehicles. The current transportation bylaw does not permit the use of meters in private transportation vehicles. After the owner left, the board discussed it at quite length. And based on those discussions, we have agreed to uphold the bylaw as it currently stands. So meters are not permitted in private transportation vehicles. Could I have a motion just for that to clarify? Bev, thank you. Brian, do you want to second that?
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor? Carried. And completing all the items that are on the agenda, and terminate the meeting at 10:55.